You know how at BYU we have this wonderful thing called iLearn? I know. iLearn 3.0 has been kind of a bear to get used to. But think about how it was before iLearn existed. You used to have to keep a planner to write down all your due dates and carry a backpack to hold all your books. Now we can just carry around a device literally this big that has all of our materials on it. Now, if you're anything like me, you would know that keeping a planner and writing down the due dates is a very hard thing for me to do. So take a step back and think about if you had a tool like iLearn in the high school. Do you think that you would have done better? The problem is that teachers can't count on students having access to technology because of the public school setting, unlike college, where we are expected to have a laptop. So a teacher can't rely on these sorts of systems to work for them in the class, so they have to go back to the old-fashioned ways. And that is what brings me to my point. All schools should have a one-to-one initiative with technology to provide better communication between teacher and students, teach digital citizenship, and prepare students for a technology-focused world. So what is one-to-one? What it means is for every student, there is a laptop or a tablet, some sort of technology device that gives them the ability to communicate, turn in to their teacher. So why should high schools do this? Well, one study by Michael P. Kepler in his dissertation called An Examination of the Impact of One-to-One Computing when Used as a Tool for Student Writing, he came to this conclusion. Based on the findings that the implications for netbooks use as a tool for writing include a shift away from traditional training methods, more self-directed learning for students, increased interaction with others for feedback on writing, and the need for ongoing professional development for teachers in order to improve upon instructional practices. But don't just believe him. Christopher R. Persuasive also came to a very similar conclusion in his dissertation for one-to-one computing, a mixed method study designed to uncover the perceived effects on the overall classroom environment. His conclusion was, benefits associated with increased student engagement and laptops allowed teachers to share and obtain information with their students. Concerns were expressed regarding the lack of technology support and the absence of training opportunities throughout the school year. So, it can increase student engagement and communication between teachers, but the concern is that if there would be a lack of technology support in the school, well, any technology support comes as part of the one-to-one initiative. Any good tech plan would have that as part of the plan, to have continuous training for new teachers and continued teachers. Not only that, students will learn how to use technology as a tool instead of as a distraction. Through their use of a technological device to research, to communicate with their teacher, they learn that it's not just a place for Netflix, to get Netflix or to communicate with their friends. I know what you're thinking. How does a public school afford to buy laptops for everyone? And the truth is, they can't. Not without your help, they can't. Devices are getting a lot more affordable nowadays, but they still cost a lot. And when you buy them in bulk, you end up spending a lot of money very quickly. So what can you do? Well, a lot of districts that already have one-to-one initiatives in place will most likely be doing what's called a technology levy. Some may put it inside of their maintenance and operations levy, which, at least in the state of Washington, can pay for up to 21% of the budget for a school. And that's locally voted on. So anytime a vote time comes around, you can see if the school is asking for some sort of levy. Now, there can be, this does increase taxes, but most of the time, not by very much. We're talking like in the cents on the amount of money. And you can make the difference to the entire future of your community. Another way that schools do it is with bonds, which are similar to levies, but they're more like the school gets it all at once and then they can spend it. Another thing, if the school does not have one-to-one initiative, you can talk to the leaders of that school district, the superintendent, the technology director, the curriculum director, or the high school principals, or not just the high school principals, but any of the principals. So, as long as there is a means for schools to do it, they will, because it does benefit our children, and the future for that matter. It will increase the students' ability to learn and consume knowledge in more ways than we can imagine. There's so many things that are being done now that could have never been done in the past. Well, a good example of that would be like a virtual field trip where the teacher can lead students through the pyramids of Giza somewhere to learn about those. And they never have to step outside of their classroom, but the students get visual cues, and they're able to look around with something like Google Cardboard if they're given devices like iPod Touches. They'll learn how to use technology as a tool. That's very important. Every day people are getting distracted by technology. If students don't know how to use it correctly, which is part of this digital citizenship, then it'll constantly distract them in their future and their jobs. So they need to know how to use it responsibly. This will help our students engage in classrooms. So if I were you, I would talk with your local school district and see if there's anything that you can do, like voting yes on a levy or pushing for a one-to-one initiative to be started. Because there are means for it to happen, but it starts with the community first. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.